This is the general shape of the hide that you'll receive for your wraparound style uppers. This is the pigskin, and it has two distinct colors. One is this sort of nice crushed velvet kind of look. It doesn't have the shimmer of velvet, but it has a nice suede look to it. And then on the other side, it's a little bit more solid. And so what we're going to do is choose which side we want to be the outside, and then we're going to trace our hide on the other side. So I like this side the best, so I'm going to flip my hide over. And generally speaking, because these are farmed animals, they're going to be fairly perfect in that they don't have very many thin spots or holes, but do make sure that you're checking. If we sent you a kit, we've already inspected the hide, so we know that you can at least get your uppers out of it, but you may not be able to just do this standard sizing that I'm about to show you here. You may need to rejig things, and that's where your brains come in handy. So what we want to do is make sure that we're doing mirrored images of our uppers, in that we're going to actually make a straight edge along one side of the upper and then a swoop for our button flap, and we want a left and a right. We're going to start by making sure we have enough height, and so I said I wanted 13 inches and plus 2 for my roll down, so 15 inches times 2. So I'm going to check and make sure that I have my height. Yes. And then I'm going to find center, which is approximately here. I'm going to make sure that I have my 23¼ Yes. And I'm going to move that down so that I've got this already cut nice straight edge here. So I'm going to start my measurement from here. $23¼ Okay, and then I'm going to draw a straight edge. If you have a meter stick or a yardstick, it would work out well with this. I'm using chalk because it easily rubs off. If you don't have chalk, pen or pencil would work. This is the inside of your moccasin, so it's not a huge deal to mark it up. So there's my straight edge. So this is going to be upper 1 and upper 2. I'm just going to make a chalk mark at 15. So that's 12 plus 3. I'll just do that in a couple places. And what you can do is actually leave your height, your extra height, and trim it after, because you might want to have more of a roll down than some. So you can just leave it. And I'll do the same on this side. But just to give you a sense of where it's going to be. Alright. And now you just want to have a natural swoop for your buttonhole. And because these hides typically come in this nice natural swoop motion, I'm actually just going to leave it. But if you, say for example, had one of our split grain cow hides, you may actually have to physically draw this shape like that. And it's perfect because they're already mirrored. So I'm going to have a left and a right. So this one's real easy. I'm just going to cut right down the middle. And there, practically have the exact same hide uppers. And again, I could afterwards trim this off. This I know is going to be a little bit too dangly, so I'm actually going to trim that off right now, just because I don't like my moccasins to be super dangly. But you might decide that you like that. You could even fringe it, make some pretty fringe. Like that. And when you do your roll down, you will see the other side, so you'll have some chalk there. So if you plan on drawing a straight line across for your height, make sure that you know that that's where you want to actually cut it, because when you roll it down, you will see. With the chalk, it's nice because you can just rub it off. But if you're using pen or pencil, you will see it. So now we've got our uppers cut out. That was easy. Now what we're going to do is get our binding tape, our 1-inch cotton binding tape, and we're going to sew it on using the sewing machine. You can sew it on by hand, but the sewing machine just does a really quick, easy, and clean job of that. So that's what we're going to do. So before I show you how to sew on the binding tape, I just wanted to mention real quick, this is your typical cow split grain that you might receive in a kit, and it comes in obviously quite a bit larger hide, so we pre-cut them into strips for you. So you might get something that looks like this, and with my demonstration before, it's going to change a little bit. So you're actually going to do your height of your moccasin up this way. So I said I wanted 15 inches, and I've got plenty, even at the shortest section here, I've got 16 3/4. So we're good there. So this is going to be my height of my moccasin. And now I'm going to do a double width of my moccasin here. So I would have 23 1/4 right here, and then up to 47 here, and then from either side you're going to do your swoop. So you would draw a swoop here, and that's going to be, say, my left, and my swoop here, and that's going to be my right. So when you cut here, you're going to have two mirrored moccasins with your straight edge here, 23, and then you're going to do your buttonhole swoop right there. Okay, so just to give you an idea, the hides come in all different shapes and sizes, but with the instruction booklet and this video, hopefully that will be clear on how to cut it out. Just before we sew on our binding tape to our uppers, we're going to just trim off a 1/2 inch by 4 inch little triangle here on the swoopy side of your moccasin. And that's just going to, just like when we trimmed our moccasin tongue on a little bit of an arc, that's just going to allow the upper to rise, and so when you pull it tight, it's not going to look bunchy at all. It's going to lay nicely on the front of your foot. We're going to do that on both sides, and again, that's 1/2 inch rise by 4 inches run. So when you look on the back side of your upper, 1/2 inch by 4 inches, and again it's on the swoop side of your moccasin upper. So you're going to do that on both sides.